everyone, Sun Raikai here. Today I'm going to be watching the 11th episode of this 4th season of Overlord. And last episode, Prince Zanuck was betrayed and beheaded. I'm sure other things happened in the episode as well, but that kind of overshadowed a lot of other stuff. And as far as this episode goes, yeah, the way we ended off last episode, Ainz didn't seem too happy, so we may have some carnage this episode, some slaughter. It's certainly a possibility. So yeah, let's just jump into it and see exactly how all that goes. So 3, 2, 1, play. Well, there's the king, so I guess he's still okay. Has he heard the news, or it doesn't seem like it. Yeah, I bet. Okay, so we are calling him King Zanuck. Okay, I wasn't sure about that. I mean, somebody still called him Prince near the end of last episode. This threw me off. I mean, I can respect that, but man, how's the show gonna be after all this goes down? This whole thing is a pretty big deal. I mean, yeah, 2 of the princes are dead. We still have, yeah, the princess, of course. I don't really know how many princes there are, but if those are the only ones, and the king dies, that pretty much just leaves Rena, doesn't it? As far as royal family. Yeah, we got to see the blue roses and the black scripture and stuff last episode. That was cool. Just gonna drink some water real quick. Hopefully see more of our red armor Robo Boy. I think that's his official name. Still night. Well-prepared traps. We wouldn't want that. Yes. You sound like such a whiner. Are you? Would you rather stay there? The one and only. In this show, that certainly is possible, but... He's a little bit skeptical. Is that Ainz over there? Get down, man. Show some respect. Okay, Sheltier. Yeah, definitely show some respect. Straight to the point. Okay, that's good. Just dragging him by his ear. Like he's a child in trouble. Well, good luck, man. I'm okay with that. Will he? Go cute this leg. Getting buffed up. Okay. Gotcha. I was about to say, who is that? That more or less answered the question. Yeah. And we do see Albedo in action in the opening, so maybe this is kind of what that's referencing. Yeah, here he is. Red Robo Boy. And as it's shown, you know, somebody is in there. So not really a robot, but I like calling him that. Sounds like an MMO ability. Oh, damn, you really did take them out. Jeez. Oh, that looks really cool. Probably hurts, too. Isn't fire one of the things I'm just weak to? Yeah, he wasn't expecting that. Probably doesn't see people as powerful as himself very often in this world. But yeah, let's go. That's probably your best chance to kill him right there while he was taking it back, but oh well. Bicorn. Wasn't that like the reverse unicorn thing? Probably. Well, the title was a well-laid trap, so into a trap, maybe? But yeah, this should be a cool 1v1 fight. I know, right? Man, those wings. Well, maybe he, you know, can do that. I can't tell, so don't ask me. Oof! He's probably glass cannon, you know? Some builds are like that. I mean, it's kind of like a sniper sort of role, for the most part, looks like. Like, definitely a DPS build, for sure. Well, I never thought that. I'm not sure I agree. Prime Minister Albedo. It's just such a weird thing to call her. Okay, see, now you're just getting rude. He really doesn't like the hero, like the protagonist of the story when he, you know, prattles on like that. Okay. Boom. I would never. I know you're way too paranoid for that. Oh my god, yeah, that's the guy from the opening. So he's a different person. Okay, I was 50-50 on that. But, yeah, that confirms that. And he does look like a powerful player, too. Like, with his look, there's no mistaking he's a player. Yeah, the way it just floats around him. It's almost like that Hornet with the balls in Rance 10. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. You tell him. Oh, that sounds really powerful, actually. The phrasing of it. Anything with the word world in it, really. Okay. Yeah, it'd be really cool if it's a name he recognizes. Riku. Okay. So, no. I kind of thought the same. That armor looks so sick, though. But he's almost for sure a player, yeah. For some reason, I associate that with, like, a girl's name. May have been a Final Fantasy character with that name or something. I mean, I'm gonna call him Riku. You can't stop me. I don't... Yeah, I never thought he would. Okay, that does sweeten the deal a bit. If he feels like he can't beat you. The other guys sure seem to. Okay. Well, give me numbers, man. I want to see an HP bar going down and numbers associated with it. Yeah, that's probably what that thing before was for. Make sure you can't escape. Makes sense. Oh, he's getting close, I think. Oof. Well, I mean, he's a skeleton. It's not like he's gonna bleed or anything, but this is cool. We have, like, you know, 2 1v1s in different areas, so we can, like, you know, bounce back and forth between them. It kind of reminds me of the graveyard thing with the skeleton dragon and stuff, you know? I don't think that's his only option. But this guy's definitely confident in his ability. Yeah, he just dodges it like a boss. Oh, that's really cool ability. I don't know how much it helped. Ooh. I don't think that's gonna work. He's way too high level. Not a chance. You're more surprised than I am. Oof. His back is up against the wall, too. It's really hard to gauge how powerful they are in relation to each other so far, but I'm sure they're not too far off from each other. If they're both, you know, like max level players. Ugh. Okay, it looked like it was a slight scrape. Okay, that definitely would come in handy here. Makes sense, really smart. Doom Lord. I think there was something like that in World of Warcraft, but I'm just gonna let Doom Guard, I don't know. But how much time do we have left? Okay, more than I thought. Now we get to see what the Doom... I already forgot its name. Doom Lord. What it can do. Okay, that's what that was. Okay, that's what that indicated. Gotcha. Yeah, that went over my head. So there's like a link there. Doom Lord, yes, that's what it was called. Thank you. Gonna bite him. Oh, that thing is kind of terrifying up close. Elemental skull is like a skull on fire. Okay. I do love like the skeleton theme attacks. I don't think he's giving up. You can't interrupt my monologue. What are you doing, man? He stopped. Wow. Wow, okay. I don't think you should do that in a fight. This really took a turn. Yeah. He speaks. Yeah, I can't just, let that go. Iron's is part of the world. Wait, can you explain that again for me? Okay, looks like she finished up. Oh, damn. Yeah, I think you pissed her off. Well, I'm pretty sure she's not as powerful as Zion, so... I don't know if she can 1v1 him. It's probably still a no. So is he really leaving? Okay. A shorter fight than I thought it would be. And I mean, the fact that he'd been another player at all is a pretty big deal for Ryans, I would imagine. Even if it's not someone he personally knew. Okay, so Robo Boy is still alive. She was sexy. Yeah, I bet. Well, there you go. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that is something. Why is it spelling it like that? I'm sure he has a few world items. So is that implying that there's like a current link between those two? Like he remotely operates at all? Like, I know we talked about the weapons being remotely operated, but... I guess that's what that implies. Yeah, regardless, I'm a little bit confused on a couple things. I wouldn't say many, maybe a few. So you just made up a name, really? Wow. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, ain't that the truth, too? So what we're saying here is that he's not actually a player. He just is a powerful dragon that can remotely control armor to kind of look like a player. Is that basically the gist of this? Because this whole thing threw me for a loop a little bit. I'm still kind of processing stuff. I mean, obviously they know about the existence of players. That's something. But he called players evil as well, so implies he's not one. But I'll think about that stuff more later. Because nobody saw that dragon before, and I'm pretty sure we saw the armor on the wall before. And I was thinking before that it looks similar, but this confirms the link. Yeah, that fake name. And yeah, the Pandora's actor stuff always catches me off guard. You never know which Ainz is the true Ainz. But yeah, that is the end of the episode. Probably a decent amount to talk about. I know I talked a little bit during the episode itself, but like I thought this episode would be focused on the slaughter itself, like just seeing random people dying. But that was not the focus of the episode. The episode in general went by way too quickly, I gotta say. What was it they called Albedo? The Prime Minister Albedo or something like that? He had some kind of title for her and it just sounds so weird. Do we have any... Yeah, no stinger. No time for that. Okay. Well, that was the 11th episode of the 4th season of Overlord. And man, where to begin? Like, we started with some of the king stuff, right? He's understandably upset about losing yet another child and, decides to go down with the ship, essentially. Very admirable man, for sure. We got some of the, Eight Fingers stuff, Coco Doll and all that, so he was just whining just the whole time, pretty much. I mean, no, it wasn't exactly being taken somewhere, pleasant, but still have a little bit of dignity in it. But yeah, Shelter just shows up, takes everyone somewhere else, and takes him somewhere else. Everyone else is like, hey, he'll be fine, and it's all good, right? I never remember the name, Kyohuko, whatever. That's a hard name to say, but yeah, that's where Coco Doll got taken. So hopefully he can enjoy that. But yeah, then we switched over to the Ainz Army stuff, right? And the Death Knights, and yeah, pretty much before they had a chance to do much of anything, we had Red Robo Boy, as I've taken to calling him, even if it's not the most accurate title ever. He showed up and just wipes out Death Knights with a chain lightning ability. Very, very impressive stuff, right? But yeah, then we got a quick zoom in. I couldn't 100% tell who he was at that point, but you know, he did look like a certain other character in the show, and yeah, later on we got some confirmation on that. I wasn't sure because we only met the guy like once, so I didn't want to jump to conclusions or anything. But getting a little bit ahead of myself, he was the one that ended up battling Albedo, right? So we didn't really get to see much of that fight at all, sadly. But we do know Albedo outclassed him, that's the important thing to know, right? But he, kind of taken hero of justice kind of stance there, like, you guys are invading the kingdom, you're the bad ones, so I fight you, and I'm good guy. That's more or less what he said, right? So we had that going on. We had Riku show up, which is not actually Riku, it's just a made-up name, right? But this is the character we saw in the opening, and I don't know if I commented on it too much, but I did think when I saw it that was kind of like the armor we saw in the One Dragon's Room in the first episode of season 2, I think it was, right? But it wasn't gonna jump to conclusions on that because we never saw that armor in action. I didn't think we ever would see it in action because the guy seemed to be a dragon, so he couldn't fit in the armor. So just various things I was kind of confused about, but we did get to see the armor here in action with that really cool weapons floating thing, right? Like I said, it reminds me of the orbs that Hornet has in Rans 10. Very similar sort of thing. But, those are useful, right? I mean, you only have 2 arms, so you would think you could only have 2 weapons, but no, this guy proves otherwise, right? So, he gets, 1v1 items, which is a privilege not a lot of people have, and those that do not really a fight, it's just more of a slaughter. Sometimes it's a slowly drawn out battle, like when he fought, what was her name? Clementine, right? Obviously, Clementine had 0 chance against Signs, but he still took his time with her. Anyway, doesn't mean they were like evenly matched or anything, just how it goes, right? So, but this guy, not as powerful as Irons, of course, but he's nothing to sneeze at. He's definitely top 20 at least. Like, I'm not super familiar with the entire world setting, but he's got to be top 20 on the power scale at the very least, right? So I'm gonna go with that. But yeah, definitely was impressive. Like, Irons, he did say later in the fight that he wasn't fighting seriously, but still, he was using some fancy techniques, and none of them worked. And now that I think about it, the heart grasping thing, I thought to myself it didn't work because he was too powerful, but it could be also because there was no heart in that suit of armor. So it could be both, really. I mean, there's no way a technique like that would work on a high-level person, heart or no heart, right? That would just be a broken ability at that point. But yeah, we did get to see them fight, which is pretty cool. Get to see some of the ways Irons kind of like counteract somebody, because one of the best things a warrior can do is account for their own weaknesses, because every warrior has a weakness, right? But spellcasters usually, they don't really have like armor, right? So the best thing a spellcaster can do is keep the opponent at a distance, right? So with a knockback specializing item, it certainly does that. But as far as the fight goes, not too much more to say on it beyond that. Until we got to the whole, the whole bowing thing, right? Where he's like, please listen to me. Like, basically, like, there goes out, yeah. So, basically trying to explain the situation, his point of view and all that. And, of course, he doesn't, fully agree with him. He talks about protecting the world and all that. And then just, kind of left. I mean, not, after Albedo showed up. I guess he didn't like his chances of 1v2ing these guys. Like, no, that was never gonna happen, really. But yeah, he asked him once again to be a subordinate, but he just kind of left, right? And then yeah, the scene after that where those two reconvened is where I wanted to go back to, right? Kind of watch the scene a bit more slowly, because then we got like a really good look at him, and clearly it is Azuth, the one hero guy, but it's still very confusing, like, because that suit of armor, that's still not really in line with what we've seen in this world, so. It had to have gotten it from somebody else. I would imagine, Sua, right? Which I guess is the real name of this, the dragon, the suit of armor, right? And they did talk about, because after the battle, they did talk about their thoughts on them, right? He asked how Albedo was, and what he said was, yeah, I couldn't do anything to her. So clearly making it clear, because it was kind of hard to tell from the fight itself, but this does make it pretty clear that there was a big power gap. Because obviously when I thought, Riku was a player, I thought the power gap would be pretty close. I mean, I thought they were both players, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. But yeah, the big guy could barely keep her at a distance, as he said. And then we switch over to talking about Sue's battle at some point here. Yeah, he says it was impossible. As his, weapons still float there. And then, yeah, the kingdom will fall. Basically, at that point, kind of giving up on the fight, at least At least for now. See, I'm still just watching this scene here. Yeah, because, yeah, Azith's job was basically just to buy time, and he couldn't even do that because Albedo eventually escaped and broke through the barrier, which he also didn't expect. He made a pretty big deal about that. Let's see. I couldn't beat the Sorcerer King because his strength was much greater than I expected. Yeah, that was kind of the line I was looking for. So, make it clear there's also a gap between him and Irons here. So, yeah, it's a hard thing to deal with if that's the case. Because Iron still has like several other floor bosses and stuff like that. And then, yeah, we actually shifted over to the dragon itself there. Which makes it clear that, yeah, there is a active link there where you can control the armor from a distance, which is pretty cool in itself. Yeah, he also mentions a world isolation barrier, which actually matches a pretty powerful spell or, well, ability, because Irons made a point of it dropping his HP and stuff like that. Also the fact that, yeah, she broke it and Irons couldn't, which was definitely significant. He also mentioned something called wild magic. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Obviously, world items we've had mentioned in the show before. And then he says, could Albedo be a player, which is funny because obviously she's not a player, she is an NPC. I don't know why they spelled it the way they did. I guess because he's pronouncing it a little bit weirdly. I mean, I'll listen to it again. He does say it a little bit weirdly, but I don't know. I don't know if it was necessary to spell it weirdly, though. I guess the point of getting the point across is that they're not super familiar with the concepts. Just maybe a surface level understanding, I guess, is maybe the point there. Because no in Japanese, because if you read Japanese visual novels, sometimes characters will say a word in katakana to pretty much get across that they're using a word, but they don't really know what it means, or they're being sarcastic. Obviously, you can't really do that in English subs, but I just feel like if these were Japanese subs, they would probably be in katakana, probably what they would be doing. It would be a clever idea to put someone in there, to put oneself in a secondary position to ensure their own safety, which is a good point. And Irons does do that with, sort of does that with Pandora's actor, right? Sometimes we'll have Pandora's actor be him in dangerous situations. Which I think they implied happened in this episode. I'm going back to that part to make sure about that. Okay, he straight up asks about his strength. Or what he thinks of his strength. What was his answer again? It would be impossible for you. Indeed. Yeah, he says he has a good idea of his power. It'd be impossible to defeat him in a single blow, no kidding. But there should be a way to achieve victory. Does he elaborate on that? And yeah, also calls Tsuha the world's strongest dragon lord. Yeah, there's a lot of process just in the last 6 or so minutes of the episode. Yeah, they talks about the fake name. Nothing important there. To fight against the evil players. Yeah, sure it talks about killing Azith and giving someone else's armor, which is kind of messed up, honestly, but, I mean, if you gotta do, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Back over to the actual, throne area. Because we see Albedo and Irons show up. Just kind of walking in. I was still pretty deep in thought during this scene, so I was half paying attention to it. But now that I'm watching it again, they are very careful about how they use the camera and waiting until the last second to actually show the real lines of the throne. Yeah. So that basically does confirm that, unless I'm just completely misunderstanding something, that Pandora's actor was the one fighting Riku. That's gotta be what that implies, right? Since he's the one with Albedo, and like I said, Irons likes to minimize his own risk to himself. And, he straight up asked about the impressions of Riku, which is what really made it clear. But still, I want to double check nonetheless. But yeah, that was the episode. Okay, yeah, sorry, I just really want to go through the last segment slowly because it was pretty important, and yeah, a lot of little details, a lot of stuff they were kind of dropping on us there. So we confirmed that Suwa is like the most powerful Dragon Lord, and he has the armor. Did they ever clarify how he got the armor to begin with? I assume it was just from a player. Like maybe he defeated a player and took his armor. I guess that's kind of the implication. I guess the same for the red armor that was just kind of given to Azuth. Maybe given to somebody else in the future. It seems like. Right. The show itself really hasn't gotten too much into the whole player thing from the perspective of this world. Like there's been a little bit of mentioning here and there about legendary people from the past or whatever, right? But really hasn't gotten too much into it, really. So hopefully now that we've getting some people talking about it here, we can get more into it in the future. Because I was getting all excited thinking we were actually gonna have Ainz versus another player, which could be an epic battle, but no, that's not. I guess that's not what that was, sadly. So yeah, maybe some other time. There's gotta be some other player in the world currently, I gotta assume. Although maybe Tsuwa's like an ex-player somehow, but I didn't get that impression at all with how he talked. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's really the takeaway here. But because the armor does suit him, I mean his color scheme and stuff like that. But how would you go from being a player to a Dragon Lord to begin with? That's also kind of weird in itself. But so yeah, I'm just gonna go with he took the armor from a player a long time ago. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about this episode. So thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.